$5,000. Cash payment to anyone who can prove that what lying son of a devil Farrakhan is preaching is consistent with the lessons, supreme wisdom, of Master Fard Muhammad Elijah Muhammad's representation of his teacher Master Fard's teachings.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here. There's a covenant, break a set of seals. Again, no one stepped up to get to 5,000. Smart, stupid remarks to make. They never claimed the 5,000. Why not just claim the 5,000 to be done with it? Speak for itself. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Again, brothers and sisters, you know I was taken down by the mouth to make war with the saints. As a consequence, they got a hard way to go when they get home. Big detour, major detour, because of this. Well, I really can't blame this. I blame them. Let me explain something to you about, you have data and you have knowledge. There's no knowledge in the mind. There's data there. Knowledge is, once you get into the brain, then the brain has to react. The brain calculates based on knowledge. So knowledge, the data gets into the brain, becomes knowledge because the brain acts on it. Difference. The mind, like I said, is software. It just applies data to the brain. The brain does the calculating. That's what knowledge is. Takes its actions, the data put in the action. Once you get the brain, it affects the brain, so it affects the calculations there. So we have a lot of people have a lot of data. See, I thought somebody needs to explain that a little better. See, they have the data and the angel, they don't have the knowledge of it. They got the data of it, they don't have the knowledge of it. It's a difference. Because you got your data, you can repeat it, you can copy it, Xerox it, duplicate it, all kinds of stuff with the data, right? And that's all the people that claim that they have. That's all they're doing. They got the data, all kinds of stuff with data, no knowledge, whatsoever. Some of the things I want. Well, I'm not going to talk about a lot of things today. I'm going to talk about resistance. And says, you will not return your thorough knowledge yourself with natural heart. Was not playing with that. Was not playing. Because they got all kinds of excuses. And you can knock all the excuses down. Like somebody tell me, oh man, well, you're just smart. I said, is anybody born knowing calculus? You ever see anybody born knowing calculus, knowing trigonometry, knowing physics, even knowing the language? They said, well, Jesus spoke from the cradle. Well, how long was he in the cradle before he started speaking? Then what was he saying? Mommy, daddy? You don't even understand what that means. No. The difference is that once you get it, because your body is your investment. It's like, somebody die, give you an inheritance. Okay, you are your inheritance. You're an inheritance for your mother and your father. Then what you do is up to you. You don't do nothing with it, nothing will come of it. If you get your inheritance, you spend it, blow it, then after a while you're homeless, you have nothing. That's all you had. They left you $1 million and then you blew it. Now they can't come back alive and give it to you again. You are the material, you are your inheritance. What do you do with it? So when you look in the mirror, that's your investment. So if you got diabetes, right, or you don't know anything, right, or you're ignorant, you did that. Now that you have enough energy to get some control of yourself, when the Holocaust, and devils had control of that. They don't have that. Well, they have control now. They don't have it because you allow them to have it. So a lot of you satisfied with devil's control. A lot of you satisfied. It's like, I'm gonna get a little gross here, but you get this dude go to prison, right? He tough. He run to the homeboys. The boys say, okay, you tough, huh? They bend him over. After a while, he gets to like it. He's looking forward. He's still learning to like it. And some people like that. They like being done by the devils. Yeah, a lot of them. Because they ain't got to do anything. See, because once homeboys get hold of you, you ain't got to fight nobody. Because they take care of you. They protect you. Do that thing. They protect you. You don't have to worry about fighting nobody sneak up on you, beating you anymore. You just bend over when they say. Just bend over, you don't stoop down. So, hey, man, they like that. Some of us in the same situation. We like being butt broken. We like the devil taking care of us, doing everything for us. We like that. So therefore, we're not going to leave here. We like that. And when you're going to listen to anything I'm talking about, I'm not talking about demons, I'm talking about Levites. They learn to like it. Keep it tough. They go out, hey, baby. They go out like that, right? I don't know why at all. We back in jail, man. Unfortunately, that's some of the people, and nothing we can do with them. We don't want to do anything with them because it's suits. That's why they had to go around the wilderness for 40 years to clean that stuff up, make sure that stuff was out of there. See, and the thing is that we don't know anything is because we didn't spend time trying to know anything. Tell me, you went to school and you studied hard and you came out and didn't know anything? No, you didn't do that. You didn't go to school. Or you went there, you wasn't minding what the schools on the girls, on the guys, on teachers behind or something. I don't know. But you wasn't focused on. You get your invest for. So nobody so no. I invested in learning. And people just call me names. Oh man, I growing up had issues because of that. Because I used to wonder why would our people look down on someone that's trying to learn something? That was the thing. That was even when I was growing up. It's really bad now, man. Which? Then they try to say, well, anyway, I'm not going to it. But the point is that I invested in my brain and in my body. And what did you invest in? So, I give an analogy of, like, say, somebody, a bodybuilder. They honor everybody, maybe honor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then, Schwarzenegger's black and German. Arnold Schwarzenegger, black nigger. That's interesting, isn't it? But anyway, he wasn't born like that. And it wasn't easy for him to get like that. He said, well, I can lift 10 pounds to get like that. No. And if anybody was standing with him, it could have been a female or whatever. And they were standing the same amount of weight he had, same, it could have been a female. They standing there, they knew exactly what they did, they would look exactly like him. It doesn't matter. So you're not born a genius. You ain't born a genius mentally. You got that from focusing. And the more you focus, the better you got at it. See? But I wasn't what you call a square. I mean, I hung out and I was respected. But I wasn't a homeboy either. I wasn't out there talking about slang. I never got into that slang talking, that kind of stuff. You know, I never got into that. Man, tell me why you guys, I never got into that dog. I never got into all that stuff. Okay? I never got into sports. NFL and NBA and all that stuff. And I checked blue boxing blue out when Ali came along. I never got into that because I was in books. So you see some of these girls out there, if you listen to them, they got a PhD in showing how they got the ability because they got a PhD in sports, statistics and stuff. So they could learn that. They could learn trigonometry, couldn't they? See, that's the point. They know that. They know that, and I don't know it. Because that is the best time to learn that shit. I remember, as a contractor, especially with the white boys, they always think, I had it recently, I was at the gym one time, dude come in, you start running down on somebody's NBA, I guess you ain't interested in that. You know, they take offense. We supposed to know that stuff. That stuff they want us to know. Bullshit. So I was doing a contract UPS. And I don't know where it is now, but that's when it was automating. And so I was working on that project. And so you had to come here, go to the turnstile, and then you had to walk a lap, 30 yards down to where the door for the, where your office and stuff was. And so I come in one day, and the manager from this other project, there was 2 projects working on that I knew about. He was on the other project, but he was a manager. And he saw me. He said, "Hey, man." And then he started talking to me about NFL and some game. I had no idea what he was talking about. None, zero. So about halfway through, he said, so he really took offense because he thought I was dissing him because I didn't know that stuff. That's what I expect you to know. They want you to divert your energy into bullshit. It's the modern way of stopping you from learning to read and write. So if they can't stop reading and write, have you read and write bullshit. Before they would stop you from reading and writing, you couldn't. There was a law against you reading and writing. See? So now they couldn't enforce that law anymore. They said, okay, let them read and write bullshit. And that's not people. You talk to them, they know a lot about bullshit. You don't know anything about math. They might want reparations. What the hell are you going to do with reparations? Who's going to run your society for you? You very rarely run to a brother, sister, and if they go into college, got a degree, they got a degree in shoveling shit. Shit degrees. They never even working. Pay $100,000 to get that damn degree. I got relatives that went to college and got degrees. Got all that money for a damn degree and never worked one day in it. Anyway, let's move on, brothers and sisters. Here we go.
I gotta do this. Do you mind? Yes, I'm gonna do something. I don't want to put my brother on the spot. See, this is this. This is something else. Love and faith transcends color. And the reason why we embrace Father Flager as a brother is because we find him on the battlefield of justice, being a true disciple of Jesus. And the last thing I'll say is, you'll never call us racist.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because this day that we honor
Yes, sir.
Master Fard Muhammad, if you see an image of him, put his image up.
Yes, sir.
That's the man whose father was a black man and his mother a Caucasian. And how many of us have a parent that's a Caucasian or grandparent? It's not about color. It's about our submission to the will of God. And in that we find common ground and unity.
Yes, sir.
So I'm only one shade lighter than you, so. And Mustafa may be 4 more shades lighter. We a family.
Yes, sir.
Let's stay a family and be a family and love each other as God would have us to love each other. We love you, Father. Happy Savior's Day. Thank you. I had to do that. We love you. Go ahead.
One more time, brother.
See, that's all bullshit. And anybody, it took 5 minutes, 1 minute, to read anything Elijah Muhammad said, they know that's bullshit. It's totally against Elijah. They keep claiming Elijah. Now, let's talk about data and knowledge. Also talking about listening and hearing. We don't pay attention to these words. Listening and hearing is 2 different things. See, people are hearing what I'm saying about INJIL, but nobody's listening. See, you hear cars rolling, riding by, right? Hear noises. But listening means you concentrate, you pay attention to it. Listening, it means you're active, you pay attention to it. Hearing is active. You just you're not active, you just see, right? Just hearing it. And we don't seem to know the difference. Because nobody that I've been knowing since the 33 years I've been doing this, they're not listening to what I'm saying. They're hearing what I'm saying. And they're hearing it all. They're not listening. But if it's listening, then they will be getting the knowledge. And the actions will, because knowledge determine control actions. Your actions based on your knowledge. So if you not produce anything, that means you never got the knowledge. You got the data, but you never got the knowledge. Because you was never listening. You was hearing. I broke that down like that, and you come around. But see, why do I have to break something down as simple as that? Because that's why it says, that's why I refer to the Levites as dead body. And said there was a resurrection, but they had no spirit. Right? Again, that gets back to, they weren't listening. They had data, no knowledge, no fruit, just data and hearing. I heard it. I'm repeating what I heard. Repeat what I heard. You repeat what you heard. Did you listen? Did you get knowledge? You got a lot of data. Repeating the data, repeating the hearing. but your actions don't show anything because you're not listening. You have no knowledge because it will show up in your actions. That's a fact. Move on, brothers and sisters. I'm going to talk some things that, it's my job is to give you a thorough knowledge of self. That means God universe, that means a thorough knowledge of the universe. How did I get that? Well, maybe some say I don't have it. Well, the ones that say I don't have it is because they don't have it. Because if you're a dog, you can't see above than a dog. If you're ignorant, you cannot comprehend knowledge. If you're stupid, you can't comprehend wisdom. How can you? You have to be wise to see wisdom. You have to be intelligent to see intelligence. You have to have knowledge to respect knowledge. Otherwise, you don't know where it is. It's alien to you. What's that? So therefore, it must know good because that's why they attack knowledge, prophets, and intelligent people because they don't recognize it. That's strange to them. And they attack that which they don't recognize. You have to be wise to recognize, appreciate, respect wisdom. You have to be knowledgeable to recognize and respect knowledge. So when they disrespect me, that means, right, either I don't have it and they do, or I have it and they don't. So maybe I'm too stupid, I don't see, right? But they don't come and tell me that and try to educate me because they did. That might mean that they know more than me. I need to be educated. They don't do that. There's attack. That tells me that no, they're part of resistance, that they don't have it. They don't understand it. And most people attack, but they don't understand. Most people attack, let me say it again. Most people attack with that which they don't understand. Because they feel it's dangerous. They don't know what it is, so let me get rid of it. It could be, right? Let me move on.
Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement? And Allah is not heedless of what you do. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped.
Again, when they say they had, there was the first resurrection, they had no spirit, it means they had no knowledge. It was based on data. People with Elijah Muhammad, they had data. Because if they had knowledge, they would not have been with Farrakhan. It's impossible. They had the data. Oh, I got this, I know the lessons, I got the data of the lessons, the data. I already proved that they don't understand the lesson. Oh, and I got, with Elijah Muhammad, I got Message Black Man. Go see these clowns, Ben X, Eric, they got data. I got Message Black Man, they have no knowledge. All they see is data. You know, those clowns are Sunday, data. They try to tell you that Adam is throwing Adam and Eve. It's Adam and us, that's not. See, because that shows how dumb and stupid they are, because all you got to do, they tell you it's 6,000 years. So if you look at it, they tell you it's 6,000 years there. So how the hell was this Adam they talking about maybe 500 years ago? He said, oh, the doctors came out like, yeah, what happened 6,000 years ago? It's right there in front of their face. That's how stupid, ignorant they are. That Adam there is the one 6,000 years ago. And was Adam and Eve was an afterthought. But the one at the end, if you go to the calculation, that's the last 500 years. That's us. And the male and female came at the same time. And it wasn't created. See, the first Adam was supposed to be created. The second, he wasn't created. He said, let's make man out like. In other words, he was remade. It's very simple. But see, they got data. Somebody told them. No knowledge. They acknowledge they could not have made that mistake because that's the devil's mistake. Oh, Adam, that's us. That's really a mistake too. And all you got to do is go through the Genesis and say, okay, the first day, the second day, third, and the fifth day, the sixth day, and this, and they don't even call it Adam. This man and woman that's going to be our image, their process will start 500 years ago. That's a simple calculation. That's what happens. You got data and no knowledge. Because you make mistakes like that. Because you ain't thinking, you're saying what you read there. What somebody told you. The same thing when people say they believe in the angel. They're making their mistakes because they have data, they don't have knowledge. Now, there's up there they want to get knowledge, they don't have it. But they prove it all the time, they don't have it. These clowns right here, this shows right here. You can easily prove these things. But it says, no matter how much I talk, they're not going to happen until fire burn their ass. And then they're going to react. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Let's show this. Leaving part of the book and discipline the other. That requires thinking. You think one minute, right away, they're liars. See, everything I say, I can prove easily. They claim we can prove everything we say, they can't prove anything they say. They say it. Look at this quickly. Let us follow this. Mention the covenant.
Malachi 3:1. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me, and the Lord, whom ye seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant, whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts.
See right there's Malachi. They talk about this, but it tells you clearly Elijah's not the last messenger. It tells you clearly. But why they keep saying Elijah's the last messenger? It says it clearly. It said, no. He's preparing the way for another messenger, who this messenger is the messenger of the covenant, who will come to Elijah's temple. That's clear. That's ABC stuff. 1 + 1 = 2. But it never mentions the messenger of the covenant. They say Elijah, last one. That's not what this says. And they talk about this scripture. They just never mention this sentence right here, messenger of the covenant. That means that there's some level of intelligence here because they know not to mention that because there's an agenda. Something they're trying to hide, deceive you on. Truly with you. Because the fact that they don't mention it, see if they mention it and still have that stupid interpretation, you say, well, they just know. In this case, there's a level of intelligence operating here because they don't want you to know something about the messenger of the covenant. That means they have some knowledge of it. Knowledge. Data. Somebody has some knowledge of it. And we know who has knowledge of it. We know Farrakhan does because it tells you in Legion. Because he recognized who the Son of Man was. He knows. He's the one dictating this. So see how you put this together, brothers and sisters, how it comes together? He has knowledge of it. They don't. So he feeds that to them. He's giving the data. And they just go with the data. Because the data, he leaves that out. So they don't, if they was based on knowledge, they would look at that and say, hey, you wrong. That's wrong there. He takes it out. And so all they got is the data, which requires no thinking. Because all they repeat is the data. If they was thinking, they would repeat the whole thing. They repeat everything except that part. Let's move to the next one.
Genesis 15:12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and, lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. 13. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. 14. And also that nation, whom they shall serve, will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance.
Again, brothers and sisters, the covenant. Okay, let's next page.
Genesis 15:18. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
Again, brothers and sisters, they don't mention this part either. They don't mention the covenant. They don't mention the covenant. The two things go together. It means the level of intelligence, intentional. The people with him, they're on a data level. So he leaves that out. And that's what people he told them. All they gotta do is read this and they say he's wrong. It's easy. All they gotta do is, if it was on the intelligence level or the knowledge level, unless they're demons, they would know right away that's wrong. Because it says right there, because he says we're not going nowhere. We're not going anywhere, but he says nowhere. And tell you exactly where we're going to Arabia. But he never mentions that. But he mentioned the first part. That's the level of intelligence. That's why it tells you in Mark that he knew. See? But his people, they was on a data level. And so he just told them what they want to tell. And they just repeat what he says. But they ain't thinking, because they're thinking, they would say, hey, wait a minute, hold it, that's wrong. They would say it in both cases. Understand that. It says the difference between data and knowledge. So you work on knowledge, just repeat what you're told. You're a parrot. Right? Because right in front of you right there, if you was knowledge, right away, they would not be with Farrakhan. They would say, you're wrong. Let's move to the next part.
Now after the death of Moses the servant of the Lord it came to pass, that the Lord spake unto Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, To Moses my servant is dead, now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou, and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. 3. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. 4. From the wilderness and this Lebanon even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. 5. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life, as I was with Moses, so I will be with thee, I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee.
See, brothers and sisters, they never mentioned Joshua either. Well, Aaron's last. After Aaron, what about Joshua? They never mentioned Joshua. So they never mentioned the message of the covenant, never mentioned the covenant, and they never mentioned the identity of the message of the covenant, Joshua. But they mentioned all other parts. That shows a conscience. They call that in the devil's class conscience of guilt. That means they know. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's lying. He knows he's deceiving the people. But they're on the data level, so he knows he can tell anything. They're just going to do what he says. They're just going to repeat what he says. See? But they think they'll read the rest. They say, how come you're not reading that part? Remember those who believe part of the book and disbelieve the other? That's very clear stuff, brothers and sisters. See, but you're in the data, so you never see this. Because if you took time to study this, what I'm telling you right now, you don't need the angel for that. If you took time to read and study, you'll see this yourself. So how come he's not saying that part? And all these things connect, he never mentioned any of them. That means he knows he's deceiving us. Who is this person he's not talking about? They tell you about Joshua. Why he never mentioned Joshua? Why he never mentioned the covenant? Why he never mentioned the covenant? So that means Joshua's a mention of the covenant, and the covenant, that means Farrakhan is a goddamn liar. He's deceiving us. It's quite clear. You don't need a computer for that one. But if you, on a data level, you never get it. Because you're going to just go what he told you. You're not thinking. Knowledge, you see that. You don't need the angel to see that. You don't need to break the seal to see that. Because the Levites still on the data level. They're on the level, any level at all. It says they won't get on the knowledge level. Because fire gives you knowledge. Fire is not data. But fire move your ass. Fire is knowledge. Get your ass, that's knowledge. So get you to the knowledge level right away. Now, you get the knowledge level right. Once that fire hits your ass, that's it. Soon then you came together. Because it boosts you right to the level of knowledge. You ain't data no more. Unfortunately, that's the fate of the Levites. They can't say that, oh, they were sealed. You don't need, you ain't even need Elijah for this one. But with Elijah, I mean, obviously, because when you say Elijah, you say Malachi, and the rest should be, move on.
Six. Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. 7. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee, turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein, for then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. 9. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage, be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest.
This is very powerful stuff, brothers and sisters, but no one understands it. A lot of people are still full of fear. The first pillar has to do with faith, because this requires a great deal of faith if you don't have knowledge. And knowledge, now I have faith in this, right? I didn't have the knowledge until I had experience. I spent 3 years in Guam and did Demon Island, and I got the experience. So no, I got the fire. If I hit my ass, and I moved it to the knowledge level on this. You say, well, my man, they can harm you, whatever. You say, honey, they got atomic bombs, man. They got machine guns. They got gas. you got to do is apply the law. I understand pressure works. And I mean, theoretically, I understand how it works. Yeah. But it's still hard to, something that you can say, man, you know, even if you don't know the math of it. Right? So I understood the data. I said, yeah, that's the way it works. But not like experience. But experience brings these scars. So that was a bad experience for me there. Well, it was a good experience. It was a bad experience because I had to be there and go through that. It's a good experience because I saw it in action. I thought I was alone, surrounded by people that hated me, tried to destroy me. They threw me in jail, did everything to me. I had no friends, no money, anything. And I beat them by myself. I didn't pray to any God. I didn't pray to anybody. All I did was apply the principles. And they couldn't touch me. They threw me in jail. They didn't beat me up or nothing. They threw me in jail. They put me on trial, a real trial, a jury trial. I had no money, anything. And yet I still beat them. You had to see it to believe it. And they couldn't understand it. And it got so bad that the lawyer that was prosecuting me, him and the judge got in a big argument. Because he told the judge, you can't let him go like that. He's guilty of things you don't know about. They wanted to be so bad. And the judge got, no, I've never seen anything like it. I didn't think you could do that. So it's a matter of faith. I mean, I can say it was knowledge if I experienced it. So once you experience it, you study it, then it becomes knowledge. I had to experience and study it. Move on. I'll never forget that experience, bro. It's just like I'm standing there and everything. I mean, it's like everybody was against me. I mean, before they throw me in jail, I'd be walking. I had to go to the mall. Some people look at me. Hey, that's you. I said, I ain't know people know me. They actually ones like they must spit on me. I said, why everybody hitting on me so much? I mean, I wasn't kissing nobody's ass. I'm me. I'm always me. I'm not a likable person anyway, but I know these people knew me. And they was throughout their way to try to destroy me. They made a deal, or if you don't make a deal, you're in the jail for we're gonna put you in prison for 6 years, 6 or 16, and then you have to get permission to leave. I said, forget all that crap. They tried to give me this Indian woman as a lawyer. She said, man, you want to make a deal? I said, make a deal for what? I said, they take me down, they're gonna take me down fighting. That's what I told them. Then they brought out my stuff about the angel. I'm calling people devils and stuff. Had me on the stand. This your book? That was supposed to inflame the jury and everything, right? I said, yes, what's wrong with it? They couldn't believe me. And so finally, the lawyer they gave me, he told me, he said, I know you ain't afraid of these people, man. Would you please leave the island? Once I beat them. He said, well, if you spit on the side, they'll come after you. They hate you so much. He knew it. They couldn't touch me. They couldn't understand it. I beat them, not a little bit, 100%. They tried to come after me, even I got off the island for them. I'm not getting to all the details. And they couldn't touch me. I used to get letters from every year. I owe them this amount. Because it works. Anyway, let's move on. Again, I'm not going. This. Now, no matter how you read this, that's it. Because they got data, don't have knowledge. No matter how you reach, you got to come to the same conclusion. I indeed am baptized with water into repentance, but he that comes after me is smarter than I. So who they talk about? They can't tell Master Muhammad, because they say this person that comes after me is mightier than me. So if Elijah wasn't mightier than Master Muhammad, they couldn't be talking about him. Right? So they're talking about Elijah, right? And then it tells you, right, that the person that comes after him. So you have to say, well, is that Farrakhan? Is that Farrakhan? You talking about? I indeed baptize with water. But he said, then he who would say Farrakhan is greater than him. Right? He should baptize you with ghost and fire. Right? We don't separate the wheat from the. So if you know anything about it, that can't be Farrakhan. But even the way you say it, right? If it says Elijah, there's nobody. They say nobody comes after Elijah. So if you go that way, if it says not Elijah, then who is it? If that's Elijah, then they call this a lie. They're saying nobody comes. Like this person clearly says somebody's coming after me. So who is this person? If this Elijah, then they're saying that he's lying because nobody's coming after him. They said Elijah's eternally made for Islam. So it's not Elijah, who is it? If you say it's definitely not matter for Muhammad, so if you say it's Farrakhan, then you still got a problem because nobody called Farrakhan either. Only makes sense if you say this is Elijah, right? And somebody's coming after him, which forget about we said Farrakhan, whatever, because they said nobody's coming after Elijah. So that shows right there. A big problem. But if you got data, that's not a problem for you. But Farrakhan says, hey, this is what it means, and you're going, whatever he says, you're not going to calculate and try to figure out what he says right or wrong. Whatever he says, that's what's going to go with. This shit tastes like honey. It's honey. Oh, well, it must be honey. It might taste a little different, but I guess the way honey tastes. Then it tells you, look at this. It tells you beware of false prophets. It says, they come to your sheep. They show my sheep. Now, he's talking to the sheep. So if he's talking to sheep, he's telling you that there are going to be some wolves that look like sheep. That means you'll be infiltrated with people that look like you, but they're not you. That's another thing. But we're all the same. We're all black. We'll make you black. That kills that whole story right there. That means, no, there's somebody mixed in with us. And they tell you about the chaff and the wheat. That's causing us problems. They're against us. They have no different nature. They're wolves. They're going to attack you. They're living off of you. There's a people that look like you living off of you. And he's talking to the sheep. That means amongst us, there's a people that look like us that ain't us. Can I tell you about them? They tell you right there. There's people amongst us that look like us, but ain't us. They're our enemies. Close enemies. We don't recognize them because they look like us. We don't talk about that one. It's right there. Beware of them. I'm going to move past this, but I'm going to get to some main things. But that's what they did. They ripped off the nation. Totally. Left the beast with nothing. Okay, resistance. Okay, before I get to resistance, now I'm going to show you the difference between data and knowledge. Now, they're talking about the original. Okay, look at yourself. You know what you're made of? You know what you're made of? What's the building block? If you think of a brick house, what's the building block? Brick, right? I mean, the house is a brick. It's just, right? The primary components of brick. It's a brick house, so you call it a brick house, but you know it's built off a brick. The brick is the nature of the house. Brick. Now it can take different forms because the way they put the bricks together, but it's still brick. Depending on how you make back, put it this way, you get this house. Put it that way, you get that house. But it's still brick. That's the nature of it. It's brick. Now if they could take and break you down all components, your base component is that right there, DNA. DNA. That's the material we made of. Period. We built off it. Every cell, everything is built that. You go to its fundamentals. That's it. DNA. That's the material we built off of. DNA. Cells, everything. We brought all the way down. It's DNA. everything, every aspect of life is needed, and everything on this planet, all life on this planet has DNA. Some portion of that DNA. Remember that? Some portion of that DNA. That's the whole thing. That's A to Z. Plants may have A to B. Reptile may have Y, maybe have NOP or something. A portion of it. The original people have A to Z, the whole thing. So everybody has the trees, they may have just X, C, maybe C, D, E or something. But we got the whole thing. That's the nature, that's the very fundamental nature. That's the building blocks, nothing less than that. Nothing more than that, that's it. So you know what you're looking at right there? You're looking at the universe in total contraction. When the universe in total contraction, that means it's basically like a star. And the earth's like the core. That's why the Quran said the heavens and earth are one. And then we expand the heavens. So all the energy out there used to be here, used to be atmosphere of the earth. All the energy out there, stars, galaxies, used to be the devils go further than that. They say, well, it used to be all of it used to be one big, they call the Big Bang Theory. When atom burst, that's where. So if you can believe the size of atom, you can believe the size of Earth. The Quran says it was the size of Earth. Right? So you see the white out there, that's the universe. The red inside, that's the Earth. Because under that kind of pressure, Earth is the pressure on Earth is equal to the pressure of the universe outside. So then it stops. It's not pressure because both are equal now. That means the Earth, the atmospheres, the atoms in the Earth are moving at 24 billion miles per second, which is speed of thought. But on the outside, they're not moving 24 because you got so much area there. That means it's like the pressure is the same. It's just the temperature is not the same because it has a greater volume. The pressure remains the same. If you understand that. So at that point, right? At that point, the inside is equal to outside. So inside is equal to outside. So inside, remember, it's 24 billion miles per second. So it's thought. Inside is thought. And it's equal to outside. So so since it's equal to the pressure outside, the inside is thought, pressure is thought. That means it's God's universe because it's totally conscious of the entire universe. Because they're equal. That's why I said they don't know those lessons. Maker, owner, creator, planet Earth, God's universe. But we couldn't be in the form we are right now in those conditions. Because it's super hot. You could even imagine hotter than the sun that's out there. The pressure is enormous. So we could not be in the form we are right now. So we know what the original God looked like? You're looking at it. That's what the original God looked like. Just consciousness. You say, well, I don't see no eyes there. No. Eyes come out of that. That thing produces eyes. Once things don't need eyes at that point because God tells us it's total triple darkness. You need eyes for. We need ears for it. Total silence. Once things stop moving, then now you bring out the ears in that. Because remember, ears, eyes, all that stuff is in there. All those qualities are in there. It's just they turn it off. Because you don't need them. Once things become visible, then all of a sudden you turn the eye genes on. You turn the hearing genes on. So forth, so on. And now visually you have animals and everything else. But that's what the initial, because that's the building block I said. Fundamentally, that's what we are. Everything about you is built off of that, period. I know you never heard that any place before. A lot of things you've heard before. I said a lot of things I could tell you. Right? I'm talking about this right now. I'm not sure why I'm even talking about this right now. Right? Because I'm not sure what Levi's going to do at this point. I can't say. I can't say. I'm just putting in knowledge out there because I'm going to be here with you when you go to tribulation. Maybe that might help you. I told you a lot of things I could tell you, but you couldn't bear to hear them now. I'm not sure. Maybe you're not ready to hear that either. Okay? But some of you think, oh, God looked like we did, or like the Jesus figure. No. If you take and break us all the way down with some kind of express amounts here, that's what we look like. Because every part of us, all we are is all that's put together to the form we are right now. That's like Lego, they're building block. Period. Nothing more than that. But that's what you're looking at. Conscious. It's conscious. It's where the entire universe. And that's the form it's in. The basic form, the building block, DNA. The most fundamental form of life. For one, brothers and sisters. Yeah. Maybe I should say this. Some of the things I'm saying lately, my main target is taking down Legion. Separate the demons from the saints, right? So I'm trying to help Farrakhan along. I say stuff I know they don't understand. They think, oh, he's really crazy now. They're really crazy. So that they claim him even more. Because I don't want any of them to have second thoughts. They come over here, then I got to take time to separate them out. I should say, I'm just going to say more. A lot of things I'm doing, I got reason for doing them. Let's talk about global warming. So I'm going to point out some main points that you've been deluded with, because you got this idea about some Jesus looking at it like, no, that's impossible. And if you think, so I know you're not thinking, because the first thing I would have thought, if somebody told me that, I would think, well, the universe expands and contracts. And that means when it contracts to be a superstar, how in the hell can flesh live in no conditions? It's impossible. Nobody ever came back and said anything like that. That's what I was said. Because it couldn't. Flesh couldn't live in that situation. We can't even survive 200 degrees. You're talking about more than a million degrees over there, hotter than the sun. If anything like flesh couldn't. So with DNA is flesh, no, it's not. It's atoms arranged in certain structure. You see what roaches stand there? Yeah, they flesh. On the outside, they look like flesh to me. Anyway, that's another story. Let's move on. This one is global warming thing. Let me explain a couple things. I don't think I'm going to get to everything I was going to get to, brothers and sisters. But someone said, well, man, if it's global warming, how come it's so cold? How come it's so cold? Again, we have data and have no knowledge. It don't make sense to you. See, here's the polar caps here. The polar caps are extremely cold. I mean, you have icebergs, they're extremely cold. You got ice. I think it's ice like someplace maybe mile thick or something like that there. I'm guessing, so don't take me hold on that. I didn't look it up. I know it's very thick. And so it's totally freezing up there. They showed those submarines going on. They said ice that thick as a house, 20, 30, 50 feet thick. So somebody told me a mile, but I'm not going to speak on that because I didn't check it. Okay. So the reason why, because cold is absolute energy. As the energy moved out there, the planet got colder until on the poles, because the poles, remember, they don't face the sun, so they're the coolest parts of the planet. So they got freezing. When they freeze, that means water, right, collected in the north and south poles. That means that water is just less water for the rest of the planet. So now you start producing deserts. Okay. So now when you start global warming, moving to spring, we get energy waves, energy start coming back, and the earth start warming up. When it warms up, first the icebergs start melting. They melt, right? The melt goes into the oceans, right? That means it cools the oceans down, right? When it cools the ocean down, the oceans what? Cool the atmosphere down. So now everything's cold. That's simple, ain't it? That's why everything's cold. And then it keeps going until eventually all the polar caps melt. And those are two continents up there. Yeah, this ocean, there are two, Antarctica and Antarctica, two continents like Africa and America. They're continents. And when they dig down there, they found there's a lot of plant life and stuff. So it was very vibrant, very powerful. I mean, very luxurious plant life before they froze. And the reason why, well, I said because they wasn't facing the sun, so therefore they got the least amount of sunlight. So that's when it froze. The freezing took place. Okay. So now, as they melt, like I said, more water, the oceans get colder because now you get the freezing water mixed in with it. Right? And then that means the atmosphere cools off, so now it's colder all over the planet. And that'll continue until all the ice is melted. And then the sun keeps going on, so the sun starts warming up again. So, and what does that mean? Okay. And there'll be more water available, but remember, as that ice melts and it flows to the ocean becomes higher because more water in the oceans now. So oceans take out all the coastal cities. Because remember, the Europeans, they built a lot of the cities on the coastlines. That's what they're talking about. Warm's going, yeah, because New York, LA, all these places like built on the coastline, they'll be covered, taken out. The water level's going to rise to take them out. See? That's why they hate it so much. But see, they don't realize that spring coming in and they can't stop the spring. They didn't even know there was spring coming, but now it's coming. They start to see evidence of it. And we're spring people, so you expect that way. Okay, so that's what's happening. Okay. So the coastal line, right? And then there's more water available now. So now the deserts are no longer deserts because they have plenty of water there and they start becoming fertile soil. That means now you got more plant life growing. There's so much water. So now you got much more plant life growing, right? And plants absorb sunlight and it's also block sunlight. So now you got beautiful gardens all over the planet. And you got beautiful gardens in the shade, protected by plant life, trees and everything else. That's the hereafter. That's what we're moving into. And when you do that, there's no trace of winter anymore. And all these systems, they have capitalism, communism, democracy, and all that stuff. These are winter systems. There will be no trace for them when the spring comes. So they're going to resist. I'm going to leave that deal on that one. That's what global warming is all about. It's in our favor. It's against them. They're trying to convince you it's a bad thing. No, it's spring coming in. You have luxurious garden, that's what quantum luxurious garden, can have plant life everywhere, and then blocking the sun, and then you walk in the shade, and they're absorbing the sun, so they're very rich because they got all the sunlight. So you walk around in beautiful warmth because the heat is blocked by this plant life, and now you got beautiful luxurious gardens. It won't be any roads and stuff because you won't have cars and crap. You'll be riding around in like little ships that Matt Farmer has. Animals, your house and stuff like more. And animals, since there's so much food and stuff out there. You won't be eating animals anymore. They won't be so afraid of you anymore. They won't be attacking you anymore. And so the children go out there and play. Like they say children play with, they play with the snakes or whatever. They don't mean it that way, but the point is, it's a whole world, new world. It's a world that they don't want to come in because that world destroys the winner. And they don't want you to come in because you are some people. That means now you become empowered. Power does not rest. So either you have power with someone, they have power with you. Or the stalemate. It won't be a stalemate. So if we gain power, that means we have power with them. So we could do them that they did to us. It's very simple when you, but like I said, you got to get out of that data. Let's move on. Okay, let's talk about this, brothers and sisters. See, right now, the war. This war resumes. It's going to resume soon. The war will be on. I've been prepared. In the last few days, I've been prepared for 35 years, but now I'm hyper right now. My blood pressure is up. I'm hyper because I know it's going to happen any day now. When it does, everything's going to change. We're going to war footing. If you're not prepared, you're going to be in trouble. I'm going to be in a situation where I got a man in a panic. Oh, shock the hour. No. Because shock the hour is going to cause heart attack. It causes heart attacks and things. People failing from fear. Shock of the hour. I'm trying to avoid you from. But most of you are going to be in shock of the hour. Even just about everybody. Because they don't know. Even Legion. Even though he knows coming, he's trying to prevent it. There's one thing knowing, they don't know that. One thing knowing you're about to die, that you want to die. No, they know that's going to happen any minute now. Right now, the principal thing right now, what's going on right now is the war in heaven has to kick us off because we have that vision has to be established. Right now, we got a fake vision. Their vision, so we don't have a vision. No, we don't even have a fake vision. We have no vision. Instead, it tells you people have vision without vision perish. That means we're perishing because as black folks without vision. I'm going to Jesus. That vision? As our people, we have no vision. And you got these clowns that are telling this crap. Deceiving you, confusing you. Our people have, that means we're perishing. But we got data, we don't read it, so that means if we're perishing, then what are we going to do? We're going to allow ourselves to perish. God is not presenting you, well, he's in a way, American dream. He's constantly not providing you any meaningful vision. It's not a common vision for sure. And so right now, we don't have a vision. But that vision has been stolen from us. And so Master Muhammad is going to reestablish that vision. He's going to take down, I'm not going to reestablish, he's going to take down the vision that's the false vision. And it will be a Suleiman to restore the vision. So it's two parties working together. And false Israel. We were taken down because that's a false vision. They tell you they see Abraham. We see Abraham. We got the proof. They were established to keep us realize who we are. Right? And then second, they prepared for them. They put false Israel up there to keep us from having vision. Because they expect us to perish. They want us to perish. So they make sure we have a vision, because vision unifies people. So they will make sure we don't get unified. And they follow up on that, they send the demons. That was purposeful also. Ask Willie Lynch. They raped our women and they know it's their seed. They know it's their seed. They know it's, that's why they let them in the house. They was house niggas. Then they had the same nature as them, they look like us. They the wolves in sheep clothing. And they kept them separated as long as we was in the fields. But once we got in the fields, then they was living off us. That was so-called hard-cost slavery was all about. They was living off us. We was producing food and everything for them. It was living off us. It was parasites. And their children was living off us too, because the children was benefiting from what they got from us. They would give to them. So both of them was living off us. One vicariously. And then, once we wasn't feeling anymore, the master, she'll say, Daddy, what are we going to do? That's his black-faced children. What are we going to do? We ain't getting nothing from them anymore. I'm not going to let you live off of me. I'm living off them. I ain't getting anything from them anymore. If you ain't going to live off of me, you can live off of them. You can live off of them. And that's what they did. That's what they've been living off. Because half the black folks in America, see, they tell you blacks, they deceive us, tell that black is a race. It's not. It's just a skin color. They tell us no. Right? No. They're Caucasians. They're black Caucasians. They're their race. But they tell that they're including with us, so they keep us deceived and separated because they got the demon. They're people, they're infiltrators in our community. They keep us under lock and key down, betraying us, and everything else, keep us divided. Because you got lamb and you got wolves, sheep clothing running around, you're going to be afraid of the sheep. But you see, why do sheep eat other sheep? Now you can't trust yourself. You're divided. That's what they sent the demons. Farrakhan's the chief demon. That was the second stage. There was a false vision. And they keep us divided. Put demons in amongst us. They're the ones committing the crimes, the rape, all that stuff. That's the demons doing that, not us. But we start looking, see niggas how they acting. That's not us, that's them. But they say they're part of us. That's them. And so that's why Suleiman, him and Master Muhammad, they work together to get the vision, reestablish the vision. He takes down over there. Suleiman resurrected here. Once that happens, now the next stage is get those demons from out amongst us so we can unite. Because we didn't unite until we got rid of demons. Now, when that happens, right, there's a war. There's two stages. You gotta understand there's two stages. First stage is that once that war starts again, you have eternal battle in the nation of Islam. Eternal. Because if they come running to Suleiman, it means they say those against Farrakhan, they fight with the ones as well. They take down the nation of Islam. They take control of it. When thrones are cast down, the nation of day just set. So that's what happens. Soon as the war starts again, you have that, because you got people right there waiting to see what's going to happen with what I'm saying about the war in the Middle East, all that kind of stuff. Make sure they got making the right call. And then they're going to throw Farrakhan's ass out. They take control in their eye. That's an internal battle. And then, once that happens, Suleiman seated, that's one of the reasons why they're going to attack us. Because as our black folks start coming together, that's going to get more incentive. Aside from the fact, the other things I said. So when that happens, all black folks come together. Because it's, right? That's what it says. All come together. They attack all black. And that's the second war. Because at that point, the chaplain and we are still, it's not a problem inside NOI, but it's not a problem amongst our people. The chaplain and we are still mixed together. They all come together. Then there's a battle. That battle is led by Suleiman. That's when the fire hits your ass. When they attack everybody. That was led by. So they take demons and saints. And demons going to try to keep control because they says, man, y'all, they want to take control of America. Hey, man, y'all come and fight with us, man. And they think if they can take out, that says the Son of Man be betrayed. They think if they take out the Son of Man and whatever leadership there is, that the rest of the black folks follow them. It's probably 34 million. Said, we got, what, 17 million bucks? 17 million y'all. If y'all come with us, man, we could take America. We want to get the hell out of here. That's going to be the idea. There's going to be a battle. They will be defeated and kicked out. Then that's when separation comes. Then you become a seed of great army. Because now you don't have that confusion in you. You know, much wolves are all, now all the sheep is there. You can trust each other because all the wolves are out. They become a seed of great army. Farrakhan is destroyed at that point. He's kicked out, but he's not destroyed yet. He's destroyed at that point. Let's move on. And then, when attacked, and they're trying to keep us here. Remember, Pharaoh didn't want to let us go. The wise thing for him to do, smart thing was to let us go. That's what God told me. He's no. They're still attacking us. They're trying to prevent us from leaving. It's supposed to about Moses and Noah. And Moses and Judas, they tried to prevent you from leaving. If we want to leave. We don't want to leave. We are leaving. That's the tribulation period. Suleiman, he's not here. He's left with the Levites. Has to go to tribulation. They're going to try to stop you. It's God. So Antichrist is going down. The demons. And then there's a battle to leave out here. That's a battle. Leaving, that's a battle. Whoever's in lead, but you know why at that time the person has been identified, whoever's lead is going to lead that. That's tribulation. So far. Now, tribulation is going on. Now, Suleiman is wolf footing. They've left. And then the shores of Arabia, about to take Arabia. Now they got to take down the jinn. They took out the Antichrist, on, right? Legion, right? Son of Perdition, Farrakhan. Right? He's out there trying to take over America. You got God. They're still fighting with the saints during the tribulation. Suleiman, the elect, in the shores of Arabia, and they preparing to go to war, take our land back. So first we had to get what? Our vision back, our mind back, our independence back, and now we get our land back. That's the battle. Great sands of Arabia going to be soaked in blood. And that battle was going on, and then those that survived the tribulation, they would join that battle. And it would not be a short battle. You're going to be a battle all Arabia, primarily with the sword. And then they're going to be overcome. Then we have the last remnant of the winter. Remember all this, we all this winter stuff. This is the last remnant of winter. Their realities are based on winter technology, winter democracy, winter capitalism. One is the leopard, 4 wings and 4 heads. One authoritarian communist, one democratic India. The whole society is based on winter system. And so they want to keep that economy going. That economy is not going to be in that system. So we're going to battle with them. We'll overcome them. We'll defeat them. We'll overcome them. Them different battles. And then you got Obama. That's Africa. He's going to be leading Africa. So it's a battle, going to be a three-way battle, right? Because first he's going to battle with them, then he's going to battle against them. Right? And he's the one who's going to defeat them. So everybody's defeated now. Antichrist. God's going. The jinn. Death and Hades. Leopard. So last you got, between 2 twin brothers, Esau and Jacob. They both went the same thing, only Esau said, I'm the oldest. It belongs to me. No, you sold it to me. Between two brothers. That's the worst battle of all. But Esau will be strong. He can have most of Africa behind him. It would take 6 months to bury the dead. But we would defeat him. But that's the battle control of the planet, God of the universe. All these were led by Suleiman. Digs them out. And he goes to war with us. Control the planet. He's gone, that's it. No more wars after that. Eternal peace. Close here, bosses, I think. Let me check something and then I'm going to close. So. Okay, Bill, so I'm going to leave it there. Any day now. When we change, it's going to change dramatically. I know no one understands it. That's what Scripture says. A lot of data, no knowledge, definitely no understanding. That's why a lot of people are going to perish. For lack of knowledge. You have to put that data into action. I know you have action, but you actually prove it. You put it in action, right? I think I want to say something. Growth meets resistance. Period. That's just the way it works. Every action has an opposite equal reaction. Every action has an opposite equal reaction. That's the bottom line. Another way to identify Farrakhan, he's a coward. See, cowards, the growth is action. Reaction is to prevent it. And so they say things they think saying positive. Well, if I call us racist, why you call me racist all you want to. Hell yeah, I'm a racist. My race. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with you attacking my race. The point is that he's against resistance because he's part of this. Oh, you can't call us devils ain't devils no more. All the stuff he says is to keep. That's why people say, how can I attack Farrakhan? Because he's not growing. You see how simple that is? If you understand the basic, they say, they've been saying, they'll never attack Farrakhan. If you understand mathematics of it, because he's not growing. He's part of the system. That's why he's not getting any resistance. That tells you right there. If you understand, just look at it from a mathematical point of view, he's a coward too. Because he stood up, they already showed his ass, they bust his ass. He said a little too much, so he blew his ass with those, right? And he got rid of Khalid because Khalid was bringing resistance down on him. Khalid was doing nothing wrong. He was causing a problem for us. You see what I'm saying? He's telling you, he wasn't growing. He's part of the system. He's a coward. And we got a lot of people like that. They're not good. They're not getting resistance because they're not growing. They're afraid of resistance. A coward if you run from resistance, this is where it is. And so therefore, right, Farrakhan stopped the nation of Islam from growing. So you had no resistance for the last 40 years. What resistance? You had none. See, because you wasn't growing. So now you're required to grow immediately. You have no choice. You got to grow in one day. So now all that damn resistance will hit you in one day. That's a tribulation. You brought down yourself because you listen to Farrakhan. If you've been growing, then you spread out over that time. So you're in the head of tribulation. The resistance will be spread out over 35 years. So instead of 35,000 pounds of resistance in one day, you hit 35,000 pounds over 35 years. That means that's a pound a year. 35,000, that's 1,000 pounds a year. I said 35,000 pounds in a day. So you had no resistance with Farrakhan. You had resistance with Elijah. He attacked his temples and everything else. Put him in jail and everything else. He had resistance. Farrakhan has no resistance because he's not growing. That's another way to look at it. It's the mathematics of it. They come at me every kind of way you can imagine. Resistance, I keep telling people, resistance is growth, evidence of growth. When the spring coming in, that means the winter going to resist it. That's why they're going to attack us. That's one of the reasons, the primary reason, because they're going to attack us because they're going to resist the spring coming in, because the spring eradicates all aspects of the winter. If you tell the truth, you're going to be resisted. That's how another way you know Farrakhan is a lion or a good dog. Oh, we'll call us racist and the angel devil, because he's minimizing resistance. He's a coward. He's not growing. On top of that, he can't grow anyway because it ain't his nature to grow. Because he said he wants to stay here. He want to make America good, make America great. You see? He don't want any resistance. He want to be part of this. He want to be a better part. And ain't that what the MLK and integrations want? They want a better part of America. They want a better part of it. They want more of it. For Black Panthers too. Remember? I don't know these new ones, but the other ones, they just want a bigger part of the pie. They want to get rid of it. They want a bigger part. That's what integration is all about. We want more. We want bigger. We want to be close to your daddy. We want more. We want to be close to your daddy. You know. See? We want to live next door to your daddy. Come on, daddy. We're your children. And that's where Farrakhan's come from too. He's true. So if you drop an egg from the Sears Tower or State Building, once you let it go, is it dead? Is it dropped? Is it broken? Once you let it go, oh, he's free fall right now. You're gonna see it in a couple more days, brothers and sisters. I'm telling everybody. People tell me, man, you should acting different, man. You should act like you want to kill somebody. I said, I don't know, it's just coming through, man, because I'm fired up right now. I'm tired as hell, though. I'm still back at adrenaline to keep me going. That's the only thing that keep me going, brothers and sisters, because I know we at that end. Adrenaline rush. I ain't happy about it. Don't get me wrong, I ain't happy about it. 77 years old, had to deal with all of this. It was my dream. Nothing like it. I was happy just to help Elijah Muhammad. But that's where it is. That's where it is. That's where it is. I can't deal with how I like things to be. I deal with how things are. We are. Every day is coming ahead, brothers. It's not pleasant days. So you lift your head up because it's in your favor. And if you apply and if you apply, right, and prepare, then you survive it and you get the benefit. Maybe you won't make it, maybe your seed will make it. That's no story altogether. That's in front of us. Muhammad warns us, do not pray for that day. We have no choice, right? We got to go through it. Otherwise, we stay here and get destroyed with these people. Okay? Our cause too. When we had a choice, but there was no good choices. We could avoid it, like the so-called American Indians did. They avoided for what? 35,000 years over here, and then it crashed onto them. All of a sudden, boom, they was gone. But yeah, it was avoided for all that time. And then, well, before you know it, you're gone. Crushed out of existence. So I'm not happy about this. I'm not laughing. I'm not rejoicing. I don't want to do what I have to do. It has to be done, and I'm going to do it. And you have to make a call for yourself. Nobody's praying for this. I didn't ask for it. But this is what it is. So let me final thing. I'm going to talk about, maybe talk about it more, right? I'll talk about pressure. The pressure, this energy wave is going to heat the planet up. It's going to energize it more. Remember, the universe is contracting, so it's more, probably every 50 years, get more energized. That means like turn the fire up. That means everything, all the pressures on the planet is going to be increased. Everybody's been the same amount of pressures. Everybody's going to react differently. A pool ball acts differently under pressure than a ping pong ball. So devils, they act more aggressively under pressure because they low structure, so they have high velocity. That means they move around faster because they have low structure. But when fast means more collisions. More collisions, the fast collision, the more damage. That's why so much crime and everything in wars, it's coming out of Europeans. And once we realize the energy wave, which I believe has hit the planet already, but it says it's momentum in heaven and earth, all of a sudden that means Earth has to convert to energy we can use. And I believe that process is going on right now. And so it is. That means we might wake up tomorrow morning or the next day and all of a sudden we get that energy burst and things will change immediately. And violence right now, like it's near 400 per year. This year, there's almost one mass shooting a day. That means you have, if America stays stable like this, you probably have maybe 5 or 10 a day. But it's not the whole fabric going to come apart. This structure cannot withstand that kind of pressure. And so the whole institutions, democracy, all of this is just going to fall apart. There'll be no control here. They're going to try to force martial law, but they're not going to be able to do it. The total insurrection here. Everybody's fighting everybody. Only unity is going to be those as chief Hajj if they do it. That's Levites. They've been told, but they don't achieve it. That's on them. And that's going to be their protection. Part of it. Everybody's going to be total chaos. I believe their brothers and sisters. That's what it is. I have much more, but okay. Over here. There you go. Assalamu alaikum. Mm-hmm. I know why this happens now. I just thought about it. That's why. That's why. Okay. Mm-mm.
Clearly, we have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody. These people. You can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried. We've tried. Everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, you heard that. Donald Trump is a believer in eugenics. He believes that white people are the superior race. And inner city is code for black people. And he believes black people cannot now work on the farms. I guess they're not good enough for that. So Hispanic people can do it because they have the backs for it. This is what this man is saying out loud in interviews. He is a racist. It's been proven time and time again. The man had Mein Kampf on his bedside table that he would read at night. Enough to let you know where he stands on that. Just more outrageous, racist things from Donald Trump. They want to arrest those who can do the farm work, well, until their backs give out. And then he'll probably ship them to El Salvador or some other country. Just more vile statements from the president and let you know where he stands.
When they were arresting people for praying outside of abortion clinics. I mean, I do think the UK, and I say this as, someone who is half English, I think it's like reached, or it is quickly reaching a point where democratic reforms are going to be pretty tough because of the demographic change. And that, of course, the point of importing all these people is to overwhelm the people who live there who disapprove of the program. So you don't have to care what they think because you just bring in new people and their will becomes like all that matters. And so I don't think you're going to fix these things through elections at some point, probably pretty soon. And I just worry a place like the UK, Canada is another, a bunch of different countries in the West are at the point where they're literally revolutionary. They are poised for revolution. And as someone who really doesn't support revolution and hates violence and hates civil war above all, I'm worried about that. I mean, I don't see how this is fixed. Starmer, who's he's just an instrument of larger forces, but he's a poisonous character, obviously, who's really hurt your country. He's in there for 4 more years. And so you wonder, people are going to start to get really radical in a scary way. I think this is going to happen. And the people in charge don't seem to care.
Well, you're already seeing it. You are seeing the anger beginning to manifest itself, and I completely understand the anger. I don't like you. I abhor any form of violence, but I do understand the anger when you have, Keir Starmer campaigned on, I'm going to smash the gangs that allow these little boats to come over the channel, delivering tens of thousands of people illegally into the country, and they then get put into these so-called asylum hotels where they're given a pretty good lifestyle, certainly a far better lifestyle than many people really struggling at the moment in the UK. And of course, far from smashing the gangs, it turned out yesterday that he's smashing new records for the number of people coming in illegally on the boats. Of course, it's out of control. And the British public are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly?
I'm reaching a point of saying we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly? You'd really have to force a lot of people to go back to their countries of origin, millions of people, and you need to do it really soon. And are they actually willing to do that? I don't know, but these are existential questions that we have been browbeat into ignoring for decades. But the question is is Ireland Ireland? If it's majority non-Irish, oh, shut up, they're Irish. No, they're actually not Irish. Same with the UK, same with England, Scotland, Wales. Like, it's all changing so fast. Nothing like this has ever happened in all of history, except when, say, the Mongols swept across the steppe and raped everybody. Like, that was true demographic change on this scale. But even that wasn't as profound as what we're seeing in every white country around the world. I would say the West, but Australia and New Zealand also. So, like, what is that? Now, my brain is not big enough to understand what that is. I have a lot of theories about it, but I don't know if they're true. All I know is what the numbers are, and that's real, and no one feels that he can say it. Everyone's like, oh, well, if that were happening in China or India or Malaysia or Senegal, it doesn't matter. You'd be like, what the hell is that? Like, the population's totally different. Look at graduation. Pick, I don't know, King's College Law School, and look at the graduation picture for the last 30 years. Who's in it? Just like, let your eyes tell you the truth for once. Like, this is a total change in population. Is it better? Is it worse? Can't have that conversation. Who's pushing this? Does the population want it? The population clearly doesn't want it. There's no polling that's meaningful on the subject. I mean, there's no referendum on it. You don't get to decide. You've got no voice in it, other than you get to go to jail if you complain loudly enough about it. What is this? I think it's the biggest and darkest thing that has happened in the last 1,000 years, for sure. And I think it's leading somewhere really, really bad. It's not happening by accident, that's obvious, because it's only happening in white countries.
I mean, I think that...
Oh, shut up, white supremacist. Well, in fact, I'm not a white supremacist.
Well,
I'm just noticing what the hell's going on.
I think most people I've spoken to about this in the UK, most people have always viewed the UK to be a very tolerant, multicultural, cosmopolitan place to live. That's why so many people want to come here. And people have no problem with that. And it's been very successful for a long period of time.
But it's multicultural. What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country? Is Sharia law? What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country? Is Sharia law every bit as valid as English common?
No, people don't want Sharia law here. No.
A lot of people do. Wait, but hold on. I don't know what you mean. Multiculturalism itself is a lie designed to subvert a society. No, a society has a culture. You can argue about what it is or ought to be. It's not necessarily the same as race. It's connected to race, but it's not the same. People from different races can buy into your culture. That was kind of the beauty of the West. But a multicultural society is not sustainable. There's never been such a thing. Is one culture will dominate.
Hang on, Tucker. Surely the United States of America, given the very way it was created, is the epitome of a multicultural society. And my point I was going to make to you was...
It's absolutely not. No. It's a multiracial society.
Yeah.
Though it was not actually a multiracial society up until pretty recent. It was just like 90% white for most of its existence, but whatever. But you did have different peoples, you had different religions. That was all totally fine, but there was one culture, as American culture. There's no such thing as a multicultural society. It's not sustainable. One culture will overwhelm the other. Again, it's not the same as race. It's not identical to race. It's connected, but it's not the same. But multiculturalism is by definition insane. No, it's never happened. It never will happen. One culture will predominate. It will impose its values on everybody else. I mean, the gay thing, which was not a thing 40 years ago, gay was a slur, all of a sudden becomes multiculture there. There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society, because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
But those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
But your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments? Right, so your own values, as determined by the Founding Fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing time.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multicultural multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's
determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing time.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So those values can evolve.
There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
But those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
But your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments, right? So your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing time.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. Natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's multicultural, we can all live and have radically different values, that's just not true. It's never been true. It never will be true. So you're having one culture, one worldview predominate over another and dominate and suppress all dissent. That's just what it is, dude. Let's be honest.
I would point to the United States of America and the United Kingdom as two shining examples, albeit not completely without their flaws, but shining examples of places that are deemed by the rest of I certainly feel that about my country.
Well, I certainly think that inherent in Christianity is the notion of tolerance, and that draws from a core Christian concept, which is free will. You cannot force someone to convert. There's never been conversion by the sword in Christianity. People decide to believe in it. And so that is central to the religion, therefore it's been central to the society. Western civilization is Christian civilization. And so we call that tolerance. It's a respect for your inherent God-given right to make a choice about what you believe. Okay, so of course, that's always been a feature. My only point is, a society has a commonly agreed upon set of beliefs, rules, and laws that are the definition of the society itself. That's what a society is. So you can't have competing. You can't have, gay world and Sharia world living co-equally in a society. That does not happen. It will never happen. You have to pick one. Are we the Sharia society? Are we the party time gay rights society? Which one? And you can't face that reality. So you're just sort of snoozing along until the inevitable point where you're going to wake up and be like, my values have no bearing on what our society is anymore because we've been invaded by other people with a totally different worldview, and they're now in charge. And that day is coming very soon for your country, and maybe it'll improve it. I don't think the UK could be a lot worse than it already is. It's this kind of disgusting, sad, self-hating, suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English person, but that day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architect. That's a choice that we're all going to face. Suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English. That day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architects of mass migration. Sorry.
I would question your characterization as my country as a sad, disgusting, what's the rest of it, suicidal nation. I feel none of those things. I feel very happy to be in the United Kingdom, and I feel that there are lots of very happy
Our system, the Western system, which is very distinct from the Eastern system, very distinct, and it's distinct on this one precise point, we believe, and have always believed since this country was founded, since your country became, not a pure monarchy, but even when it was a pure monarchy, the belief in the West, because of Christianity, was the worst thing you can do is punish the innocent. That's the worst thing you can do. That's worse than not punishing the guilty. And we often said that to each other. We no longer say that because there is a pretty concerted effort to blur the meaning of these terms. But I'm not going to be deterred from defining words precisely. Terror is murdering people, killing people, punishing people who committed no crime. Period.
So when the Israeli government says it has repeatedly that even though over 20,000 completely innocent children are believed to have died in their response to what Hamas did on October the 7th at the hands of the IDF, there are many on the pro-Palestinian side who say that Israel is behaving like terrorists too in the way that they have gone about conducting this war. Would you go as far as to say that?
One of the things that I really object to now is this relentless focus on Israel, which, by the way, is a foreign country that I have nothing to do with.
We've done this before. Now, maybe today things are different, and we will end up living in a nation that is sharply divided and may ultimately produce something else. But I'm an American. I love my country. I want to see it stay together. I'm interested in social cohesion, which means that I think our laws, customs, and culture have to be dominant. We can accept some diversity on the edges, but not fundamental division. I think we're in a state of fundamental division. So when I bring up Sharia law, I've sat in many discussions with many people that said, well, I don't care what people look like, but I do care about Sharia law, and I don't want that practiced anywhere near my family or in my country. And that's something you should be aware of. So the notion that someone can come here and say, well, that's part of my religion and we're going to abide by Sharia law, they're going to find serious resistance and opposition in the country.
And as I clarified,
it's because it matters. It's this thing we call societal cohesion. Nations do not exist on their own. They have a core population. Our core population from the very beginning was always at least 80% European and Christian and about 15 to 20% African. But when you start bringing in huge numbers, millions, who are fundamentally different from the core population, you are going to get violence, anger, and conflict. How many times have you heard people say, if you bring people in from the developing world, what do you get? The developing world. And now we've got that. You can't bring in hundreds of thousands of people from Somalia, plant them, of all places, in Minnesota, and then be shocked that, no, they're not Americans. They're not really interested in being Americans. They're foreigners living on American soil. Nobody wants to say that publicly. If you do, oh, well, you're a racist. Well, you know, the world is full of racists. The real war that's going to decide our fate is not going to be fought anywhere overseas. It's going to be fought right here inside the United States. Are we going to survive as a republic, as an English-speaking republic that rests on the foundations of Western civilization? Or are we going to become something else?
One point that is
Constitution was completed in 1789. I think we had 5 million people living in the 13 British colonies. We were 90% white, that is excluding the Africans who were in the country who had been brought here as slaves. But we were 90% white. We were 90% Protestant. And this may be hard for you to believe, But the people that wrote that were trying to protect all of the Protestant sects from a state church on the model of the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church. That's one of the reasons it was almost 100 years or more after that before people began to finally accept Catholicism as a religion, because it was viewed as political power. My point to you is the Constitution is outdated. The way we are governed is outdated. It has to be re-examined. Nobody in 1789 imagined that anybody would come to the United States except another lunatic, religious fanatical Protestant who hated the Church of England. That's what people feared. That's what they thought of. The Constitution that we have does many good things, but I would argue that the Bill of Rights is ultimately more important. The Bill of Rights is vital and essential, and that needs to be defended. But the Constitution and the way we govern and the things that we're doing, it's out of date. It doesn't fit our needs. And that's back to my comment on something given has no value. You have to earn it. And we haven't made anybody earn their place in this country. I'm talking about people like me that have been here forever. My first ancestor stepped off the boat in 1681. So we've got to get back to some notion of national service, because national service promotes national integration. It addresses some of these problems that you're discussing. Now, I know that you may not want to conform and may not want to be as I am, but I'm an American and nobody questions that. Nobody ever will. If you don't want to stand out and be questioned, then I suggest that you change your appearance, because I don't think it's life or death for you to wear what you wear.
I think this conversation.
It's not fine, because it's leading to violence that could have otherwise been avoided. You see, every great nation, every large nation can always accept some number of people into its ranks that are different from them. It's always been the case. But if you suddenly import millions, which is what's happened here and happened in Europe, then you threaten the core gene pool. What I'm trying to tell you is there's a problem. And we can all think that there isn't, and you can insist there isn't, but that's the view. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to address it truthfully and openly. Stop pretending it's not a problem. It's a problem.
I mean, what's also a problem is white supremacy, and that's.
No, because of you're saying you're different, you're going to remain different, and you don't think that if that's not compatible with being an American, then the hell with it. That's what you're going to do.
Well, then what do you make then of, white American people who convert, let's say, to Islam and choose to cover? Are they not American anymore?
Listen, if they want to do that, that's obviously their business. I don't know how many are out there that do that. I think again, it's ill-advised. I think you have to hold the society together. There has to be an agreement on certain things, customs, culture, way of life. And unfortunately, if you're going to practice rigidly a brand of Islam that demands certain things, and this is why I asked right off the bat, do you support Sharia law?
I'm a Muslim. What being a Muslim means is I follow the guidelines of my religion, which is a peaceful. Does your religion
dictate to you Sharia law?
My religion dictates to me to be a good human being, to be good to my neighbors,
that the most powerful force in today's Republican Party is represented by what Charlie Kirk said. It is this drive to make America a white Christian nation. I got to tell you, this is what they say privately. This is now what they say publicly. This is what Charlie Kirk said publicly.
And Joe, again, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because you know these people very, very well. Yeah. You said it yourself. You were one of the strongest voices. You were one of the folks who understood the incendiary language when you were in Congress, when you had your radio show, and how people loved when you did it. And then when you chose to apologize for that and turn away from from it. Oh my God. They literally have just tried to destroy you because of that.
Yeah, again, you know the deal, Roland, right? I came out publicly against Trump 7 years. For 7 years, I put up with death threats on a regular basis. Nobody is welcome in that party unless you bow down to what this force is, this MAGA force. And again, look, there have been some people on the left who've celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. Shame on them, be better people. But this is much worse, Roland, what my former friends are doing on the right, because they are turning this into a holy war. When you say we declare war on the left because of what some 22-year-old young guy did in Utah, and then you declare war on the whole left, that's a lot worse than celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, because that's dishonest, but that's also inciting hate and violence. And Roland, look, Trump's an idiot. So yeah, Trump says the left, the problem in the country is the left. J.D. Vance is not an idiot. What did J.D. Vance say today, right? He was subbing for Charlie Kirk on his radio show, and he spent the entire show going after the left, going after them, they, them. Man, Democrats need to wake up, Roland. This is a really serious deal by my former colleagues. The stuff that I hear privately from them right now, Roland, for the last 5 days, I mean, they want to go to war. This is a holy war.
Oh, it absolutely is. And what really jumps out at me on this very thing here, Joe, and I've been saying this, I played the speech 2 weeks ago that mainstream media just ignored, of Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, who gave a speech at NatCon, Peter Thiel's group, where he literally gave a white nationalist speech, where he said our ancestors fought for this country to be ours and no one else. He was talking about white people. He was basically saying if you are Black, Latino, Asian American, or even Native American, America is not for you. And folks just ignored it. And so people need to understand, again, what they're saying, why they're saying it. And yes, there are many evangelicals, any very conservative white Christians who are pushing this as well. And you nailed it. They want a holy war. They want a race war. They want this to be a white country. It is clear as day.
And Roland, really important point. Charlie Kirk at only 31, the impact he had, because he was one of the most successful pushers of this white Christian nationalistic idea. And so I think that's why all of his defenders are out there so strenuously denying he said anything divisive, because they know if you really go through Charlie Kirk's public record, everything he said about people of color and Black women and Muslims and gays and transgenders, if people took the time to go through all of that, and that was put out for average people to see, they'd be blown away by it. That's why his defenders are like supercharged right now. They don't want that record to be seen.
Today, you mentioned, and I mentioned as well, Vice President J.D. Vance sitting in to do his show. And listen to this man just blatantly lie, Joe. Play it.
I read a story in The Nation magazine about my dear friend, Charlie Kirk. Now, The Nation isn't a fringe blog. It's a well-funded, well-respected magazine whose publishing history goes back to the American Civil War. George Soros's Open Society Foundation funds this magazine, as does the Ford Foundation and many other wealthy titans of the American progressive movement. The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words. He made an argument against affirmative action as a policy. He criticized a specific Supreme Court justice as an individual. He never said anything about black women as a group. He made an argument for judging people of all races and backgrounds by their own individual merits.
Bullshit.
Okay, Joe, this is actually what he said.
No, Roland, that's utter bullshit.
In fact, you know, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
All right, Joe. He literally said it. Not only that, Vance lied. Soros does not fund the nation. So he sat there and flat out lied.
And Roland, remind me, what's J.D. Vance's job? He's the vice president, and yet he had time today to do a radio show for a former right-wing podcaster. I mean, look what they're not even, Roland, they're not even subtle about it, what this White House is doing. They believe, man, the path to victory is fear, hate, and division. And that's what they're putting out there. That was Charlie Kirk literally going after 4 accomplished black women by saying they didn't have the brain power to get where they got. This is what he believed. And this is what MAGA believes. And that, again, Roland, broken record, that's why Charlie Kirk was so damn successful, why he had such a big audience.
Yeah, and not only that, you take Nick Fuentes, who's to the right of Charlie Kirk. The night of or the day after Kirk was shot and killed, Fuentes had 200,000 people watching him live. And so what you have this fervor. And so when I listen to Trump and Vance and all these people talk about, how the left, they're indoctrinating. No, and you know this very well, the indoctrination. We've had people who formerly with Turning Point USA put out videos talking about how it was really this cult-like figure, this messianic figure, as they sort of set Kirk up as, and how they want them to follow that. And so that's what's going on here. These people are not trying to have open dialogue. And not only that, Joe, you take Trump, okay? Trump was very clear in saying he was not going to call Governor Tim Walz after those 4 folks were shot in Minnesota. 2 were killed, including former Speaker of the House and her husband. Now today he's saying, he never even heard of Melissa Hortman, and if the governor had asked him, he would have, of course, lowered the flags to have staff. I'm sorry, he's also lying. He knew about her. He knew about the shooting, but he was so arrogant that he said, 2 Democrats, a Democrat Speaker of the House shot and killed. Yeah, I don't care, but lower the flags to have staff with Charlie Kirk. Fly his body on Air Force Two. Do a memorial service at the Kennedy Center. Do another one at the Arizona Cardinal Stadium. Give him the Medal of Freedom. And I'm telling you, they're going to give him a state funeral. That's what you're seeing right now. And then you got Peter Hegseth going after members of the military who said anything negative in the aftermath of his death. You've got Kirk supporters creating a database of people of every social media post, and then even Van said in the podcast, you call their employer. So the so-called free speech people all of a sudden are saying, if you say anything negative about Charlie Kirk after what took place last week, we're going to come after you, come after your job. Oh, I thought they hated cancel culture, Joe.
Yeah. Roland, I remember back in my right-wing radio days, I would come on every day, and there was always some story about some leftist group on a college campus that couldn't handle speech that made them uncomfortable
to say.
Roland, this is scary, and you and I are old enough, man, to remember huge figures in American history who were gunned down, struck down, military leaders, civil rights leaders. We are treating this 31-year-old podcaster, MAGA influencer, like he's Jesus Christ. So I come from the right. Why are my old colleagues and friends on the right doing this, Roland? Because the right wants a religious war. Let's just call it. They want a civil war. They want a holy war. That's why they're putting him up to be some Jesus-like martyr.
Absolutely. I mean, Glenn Beck literally came out and said he was a civil rights leader. Oh, my God, stop it. Stop it. I've seen people say, I've seen a lot of these videos, I'm leaving my church because my pastor did not mention him. This was a Christian warrior. And let's just be clear. You said it, white Christian nationalists. It's slaveholder religion. We heard a lot of this stuff during slavery, during Jim Crow, things along those lines. And this whole idea about, it was about debate. It was about, exchange of ideas. I mean, come on, let's just stop it. And so we see what's going on here. We see the games that are being played. And then what gets me, Joe, is this whole deal of, oh my God, the left, how they indoctrinated him and the accused killer going to a university. The dude was at a university for one semester, Joe. You're trying to tell me that one semester at a mostly white institution in Mormon, Utah, which is not a liberal bastion, somehow just radicalized him? I mean, it really is showing folks the hand they're trying to play.
Yeah, and I think even on top of that, Roland, I think it was like some technical school. So it wasn't some crazy liberal arts school for a semester. Look, cut through all the BS. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has publicly said that America should be a white Christian country. This is what animates my former party. Roland, you know me, right? Tea Party Hellraiser. I don't come from the left. I left the Republican Party when the Republican Party became MAGA. And my fellow Democrats and folks on the left need to understand, now these people are on the right. Now this is MAGA. MAGA now are the snowflakes. MAGA, Roland, they now need their safe spaces. It's funny, but it's not funny. And you're right about J.D. Vance, man. He just flat out lied. I mean, the last 30-year history of political violence in this country, the vast majority of it is right-wing. It always has been. And they put out this lie that it's only on the left. It's not even, Roland, a both sides problem between the left and the right. There is political violence on the left, but the vast majority is on the right, and they know that, and they're lying because they're trying to inflame their base. And Roland, I hear from their base every day, and let me tell you something, they are inflamed. I mean, they are ready to march and grab their you-know-what. This is a scary time.
It is, and folks need to understand what is certainly at stake. Joe Walsh, I appreciate you joining us on the show.
History of the cross, known by their works. What's the history of the cross? 500-year history of the cross. Murder, rape, destruction, deception, enslavement, burning, terrorizing. To maintain a slavery system, you must terrorize the people 24/7. They terrorize people from Africa and America for 400 years. Constant terror, 24/7. Rape, murder. In the name of Jesus. This was Christians, not Buddhists, not Hindus. Christians, in the name of Jesus, where they said Jesus cursed black people, they call them Ham, cursed them to be slaves and persecuted forever. In the name of Jesus, raped our women incessantly, pissed in our mouths, made us eat shit. And then took and tried to clean up, not clean it up, but make it look more fashionable, I guess, by calling it chitlins. That's after slavery, of course, after so-called slavery. Because what was endured was not slavery. Look up slavery. Look up slavery. It does include murder, rape, terror. This is a Holocaust. And then now they try to downplay it. Oh, that was 400 years ago. No, it wasn't 40 years ago. I don't care if it was a million years ago. It was 40 years ago. It lasts for 400 years. As they're doing today. They took everything away from the slaves. Everything. Their name, their culture, their families, their religion, their minds, everything. Fed their children to alligators as alligator bait. And then they talk about what's going on in Gaza when they did 1,000 times worse. What's going over in Gaza now is simply just a miniature version of what they did. What they did was far worse than what's going on in Gaza. Gaza's bad. It's genocide. What they did was far worse and much longer. That's the legacy of Christianity. Murder, rape, disease. They wiped out the native population with genocide and disease. Smallpox blankets. knowing they was full with disease, herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea from sleep with animals. So-called common cold was not common. Didn't exist here on this side of the world until they brought it here. Murder, rape. When they was raping out women, they had a cross hanging from their neck. And again, they taught blacks that this was God's will. God's will. Enslavement of our people. And they continue on even today. That's the legacy of Christianity, the cross. So where's your rap sheet? Every time they arrest one of our people, your rap sheet. What's your rap sheet? How are you going to judge people for murder when you're guilty of murder beyond imagination for hundreds of years? Hundreds of years. Theft. You stole his land and murdered his people. And you crushed the native people here. When the Braves would go out hunting, you would come into the camps like cowards and kill the women and smash the children's brains out on the hooves of your horses. This is the legacy of Christianity. That's the legacy of it. The question is, if instead of Columbus coming here, Dracula came here, Beelzebub, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Satan, and they all came instead of Columbus. What could they have done that Columbus and those that followed him did? Satan is the God of this world. That's the God they're serving. They have known him by their works. What are the works of Christianity? What are the works of Christianity? Where's the works of Christianity? Evil, deception, mischief, bloodshedding. It goes on today. And what's going on in Gaza, just reflection and microcosm of what was done here in America for hundreds of years. Raped out women incessantly. They would even rape while they was out in the fields picking cotton. They would jump off their horse and tell them to bend over and rape them. And tell them to keep picking cotton while they was doing it. This is the kind of stuff that they would do. Make one slave defecate and slave and slave in the mouth of another slave, and then bound it up so they couldn't spit it out for 7 days. That's a legacy of slavery. You did it all in the name of Jesus. That's a legacy of slavery. Legacy of slavery. 40 years plus. Legacy of Christianity. Legacy of the cross. That's the legacy. That's the true legacy. So whose works are those? Who are you serving? Who are you serving? The legacy of the cross. What's your rap sheet, America? Gog? What's your rap sheet, Magog? Britain? What's your mateship? What's your rap sheet? Antichrist, false Israel? What's your rap sheet? Then they colonized Africa. They're stealing for ripping off everyone. It's the legacy of Christianity. It's been ruling for over 500 years. And now, the threat of nuclear war to finish off everything. That's a legacy of Christianity in the name of your Jesus.
talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. The heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the old rhythm, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will, you and I, turning your face from your own-native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel acting such? And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why is it that you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment, condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you were free. Remember that.
ain't talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their way. Come out of their pagan holiday where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. What the heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the whole rhythm, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. You are now turning your face from your own native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel acting such? And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why is it that you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment, condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man said you were free. Remember that.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulman Rahim here, Veteran of Covenant. Okay, brothers and sisters, it's been a year now, and We're finally home after 40 years in Arabia. I'm reporting to you from Arabia. Finally home after 40 years. Right? And so we've been here a year now. And there was an agreement made. A former slave master, he said, we had a choice. Stay here or leave. Right? So we chose our inheritance, Arabia. So we left. And half the original people decided they wanted to give up their inheritance and trade it for a place in America in reconciliation with their former slave master. That's their choice. They chose, said, we don't want to go over to Arabia. We don't go over there sand and all that stuff. We want to stay here in America. We've been here all our lives, been here 40 years, born here, right? And we can make peace with our slave master. Okay, so they decided to stay. And so after a year, right, we get reports of how things are going over there. And that sounds too good. How things are going over in America with their reparations. Because they was given, they got 6 states, I believe. Yeah, see? Yeah. Yeah, they got those 6 states right there. That's what Farrakhan told them. They was listening to Farrakhan. Farrakhan promised them. They stay there. 6 states, right? Had their own land. And they can make reconciliation with the former slave master. They're not devils. They're not devils. They're human beings. They just had a rough, they were just, did some things wrong, but now they're going to make amends and make reparations. So 6 states, and in addition to that, they gave everybody $1 million. Everybody stayed $1 million. Okay? Say, thank you, Farrakhan. They're so happy. Thank you, Farrakhan. Thank you, Farrakhan. Man, you got 6 states. That's what you promised us. We got 6 states. They're thanking you. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? And this was a year ago. They got the 6 states. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? Everybody got $1 million. Everybody $1 million. And they're rejoicing. Oh man, they're so happy. Hey, we made it. We got America, man. We got reconciliation for a master. We got 6 states. Everybody got $1 million. We're all rich. That was a year ago when we left. So we're in Arabia. They're still back there in America. And now we're getting reports a year later. This was the way it was a year ago, man. They were so happy. They were so happy. Right? And now we get reports of what's going on right now. Let's see. Oops, it says a power failure. Great power failure in those 6 states. Power failure. And it's just those 6 states. Right? So, and now they had a big master. They came asking to turn the power. Well, why can't they do it? Oh, Farrakhan didn't train anybody. He was telling you about 6 states, but he never prepared you for them. So nobody knows how to do it. How to turn the power grid back on. So now he's begging, man, master, can you come and turn this thing back on for us? I mean, you would think that if he told him 6 states to promise him that he would have prepared him for it, right? Their schools and education, whatever they needed for that. But now I guess they didn't, because they say over there now he's begging the former master to come and turn the power back on. Isn't then what? I mean, this is all that's happening now. I mean, I'm getting these imports in now. A year later, it's like they're coming in every hour. Power grid failure, right? Then say, oops, crop failure. All of a sudden, there's no. They say, they looked at the farmers when they done it. Farmers said, oh. So then, master, what's happening here? How come no? Right? Our crop. They found that the land they gave them wasn't that fertile. A year later, nothing's growing. Crop failure. And now master, what's happening here? Right? And then, I mean, all these things, every hour that's coming in, right? And then they look, and they had, a year ago, they had plenty of food on the shelves, right? And now, they look there now, and all the food's gone. It's gone. And she said, what am I going to do here? Food's gone. The house is empty. So he said, Master, we need some food. Well, how come you can't put your own food? I mean, you want your own country. You got your own states. That's your country. Then you run it. What are you calling us for? Right? So they've been praying. And then, oops, no fuel. There's master, no fuel there. Well, you got to buy your fuel. You got to produce your own fuel. What you calling us for? You got your own 6 states now. What you calling us for? Go and get some fuel. You got money, right? You got your own states. So you got to get your own. What you calling us for? You said you wanted your own, so now you got it. And you got your reparation, so we don't owe you anything anymore. We don't owe you anything anymore, so what you calling us for? We don't owe you anything. You said you agreed to 6 states and $1 million per person. You took that instead of your inheritance, what you call the Abrahamic covenant, Arabia. Your brothers and sisters, they left. They took that was offered to them. They took it, and you said no. I want this instead. So now you got it. So what you calling us for? Oh, no communications. Oh man. No communications, right? No medical facilities. So what's going on, Master? Wait a minute, hold on. What you calling us for? That's yours. You got to handle that stuff. You want us to handle it for you? You want independence, now you have it. I mean, wow, this stuff was coming every hour, man. Instead of like a year, they was celebrating. And now they're crying and begging the master, hey, look at all these problems here. I said, wait a minute, that's yours. Where'd you come about your problems? You have to work those out. Right? No transportation, I mean, no planes, no nowhere. We learned about fly the planes and drive the trucks and the boats and stuff and to go and get this stuff. What you done that for? You wanted this, you got it. So go ahead and train your own pilots, build your own planes, build your own boats and right? You see what I'm saying? Transportation, build your own trucks. What you calling for? Yeah, Master, we see this. You said you wanted 6 states, you got it. You want $1 million per person. That was your reparations. So now if you didn't pay people to take care of this, how's that our problem? You're independent now. You're really free now. Oops, no fuel, the gas station's empty. I can't drive, man. And no gas. Man, wow. All this stuff happened like for a year. They thought that everything was great, and all of a sudden everything ran out. So I guess what happened? Everything was there when they got it, and then it ran out. They had to, for them to replace the fuel, to get the farms going. So they was left with that stuff. The factory was full. Warehouses full. Then you had to keep. They thought that was just going. I guess they thought it was just going to be there, just by itself. They didn't prepare for it. See, and they ain't trained any engineers and scientists and architects and stuff. They business. They didn't train anybody. So Farrakhan, he told you he's going to get this for you, but he didn't prepare you for it. He didn't get anybody to handle this stuff. So what was that all about? So now he asked the master, hey, don't call on me. You was here, you had it when you was here with me. You said you want independence, you wanted reparations, so you gave it to you. Well, call on your brothers over there. They left, they handled their own business. You said you want to stay here. Right? Don't have any professionals or technicians, scientists, doctors, none of that. See? That's what, because, if you're going to set reparation, you should be preparing for that, right? So if he was telling you about reparation, you should be preparing for it. If he said, God said that's where he's going to get you, so if God told him he's going to get that for you, then he should, like when God told Noah there was a flood coming, to only build an ark, so he started building an ark. And so you should start preparing for the 6 states and the reparations, but apparently you didn't. And so now, the devil said, look, hold it. We want total separation. Look, we don't want you to call us no more. We don't want you to call us no more. Because you're wearing us. You want your own country. You got your own land. Right? You got money, $1 million, all this stuff, right? And so now we got to protect your money and everything too? No, you have to really create your own money. You have to do all these things, your own wealth, not ours. Right? So we're going to cut you off from that too. That's all economics. So they go and tell all the people all the white folks, right? All the black folks, and all the black folks is either in Arabia or in those 6 states. That's the solution. You had to be one way or the other. There couldn't be no integration, that kind of stuff. That's the deal. You just said one or the other. So all the black folks are there, ain't no integration, that kind of stuff, right? Black folks are there, one or the other, so they're there. So he said, okay, right? So they just say, we're going to take that money because we don't know what y'all doing over there. You have your own money, you have your own wealth. So what they do is they tell all the white folks, say, protect your money, right? Transfer your money into gold. Transfer all your dollars into gold. Right? Now remember, they gave everybody $1 million apiece. So everybody got $1 million apiece, right? And so they transfer it to gold. And then what happens is that what they do is they start just printing money. White folks just start printing money. You understand what that means? That's inflation. Right? Because if you got $1 million of gold, a million ounces of gold, I say a million ounces of gold, understand this, and you got a million certificates, then you say each certificate is worth 1 ounce. If you got a million ounce, each certificate is worth 1 ounce. Understand that? If you got a million ounces of gold and you got a million certificates, each one of those certificates is worth 1 million. If you want to say trade with the certificates, each one of the certificates is worth 1 ounce of gold. Right? But if you take and print, you say you got a million ounces of gold and you got a million certificates. Each one, but say you print twice as many certificates, you got 2 million. Well, then each certificate is only worth 50 cents now, because you got to connect that to the gold. Well, you print 4 times, then each one is worth a quarter. So the more you print, the less they worth, because those certificates has to equal what the gold is. You understand? So the more you print money, the less, right? The less they're worth. So if you print twice as much money, right, there's less gold. You understand? So $1 is worth 1 ounce of gold, which that's right. Then if you print $1 double that amount of dollars, then each one's worth half an ounce. You understand? That's what printing money without increasing their wealth does. That's inflation. So what happens is they keep printing. They get down to where $100 is worth a penny. But see, that doesn't affect their people. They try to protect their money because they transfer their money to gold. So gold still has its value. It's just the dollars don't. It still got the same amount of gold. But the dollars, they get down to a penny. So you can't buy it. You had $1 million, now your $1 million worth of $5. That's all it's worth. $1. Hardly worth anything. Hey, that's our money. You got to have your own money. You control your own wealth. You can't keep coming at us what you're doing. And you think they wouldn't do that? Yeah, you've been a Gaza lately? You see what happened to the trees they made with the so-called natives? Kept telling me you had a forked tongue because they kept making trees with them, then they broke the trees. And took their land and genocide and everything else. But no, they wouldn't do that to you. See? Because now you have, your money's worth nothing. They haven't lost anything. Because once that money's worthless, it's no good, right? Then you bury it up, throw it away. It's worth nothing. The people still got gold, and even if they take it, hold on the money, hope to increase again, they just use another different certificate, use another form of money. So it's still worth nothing. That $1 million you had, you was so happy with it now, it's probably worth maybe $1. So you can't buy anything with $1. Plus the economy's collapse because everything is failing, and you don't know how to repair it. You don't know how to build communications. You don't know how to do any of this stuff. You're not an engineer. Build a house, you don't know how to do anything. Because Farrakhan didn't, right? He didn't prepare you. He told you he'll give you 6 days. He told you, listen to me, right? So now you're broke, and your economy is gone. You have no food, no electricity, no power, anything. Right? It's not their fault. They gave you what you asked for. You still had your inheritance for that. And then they closed the border. Because you want to try to get back into America now. We want to come back in, Master. No, we don't want you back in here. We sorry, we want to come in. No. That's you chose. You stay there. They closed the border, so you can't get back in here. You can't get back in America, into what you could call your land now, Swaziland or something, Farrakhan, maybe call it Traveland, Farrakhan, they met the Farrakhan, right? So they closed the borders. You can't, because now you're hungry and everything else. Your money's worthless. Oh God, come back, Master. I come back work for you. I work for Popeyes. I do anything you want. No, we don't. Remember, the blacks either they over in Arabia or they in that land. There are no blacks in America, any places, just in that land that you 6 days. And now you're starving, you ain't got no, your money's worthless, nothing works, and they close the border. Right? And then you see Master, you on the phone, you talking to the guy that you kept treating, help you. Hey, we finally got rid of niggas. Finally got rid of them. Finally got rid of them. See on the phone. Yeah, it worked. We sold them the reparations. We sold them that used car. They turned the miles back and everything else, and they bought it. See, they could have had a BMW. They could have had a Lamborghini. They sold that for a BMW that looked good. Damn thing didn't work. And now they're starving. Living in tents. Praying. And so what? And what next? What we gonna do, Farrakhan? What we gonna do, Farrakhan? You told us to take reparations, so we did. But they gave us everything we asked for. What we gonna do, Farrakhan? What we gonna do? Pray, 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 pray. That's his answer. Pray, pray, pray. That's your reparations. Like Elijah Muhammad said, he had a big picture. We leaving, and blacks staying on the shore, the ones stay behind, and they was whooping their ass. Right? Because they thought you think they would give you some land and take care of you? You think they want to do that? And go bankrupt, give everybody $1 million? You know how much that is? If it's 17 million, that was 17 million times 17 million times a million is like $17 trillion, I think, something like that there. And they're going to do all that for you. They want to get rid of you. So now they have succeeded. Because they closed the border. And what you going to do? You going to fight to come out? They closed the border. They got the military around there. They finally got rid of you. No more black problem, no more Negro problem anymore. One group's out of here, another group that's here. They're gone, and our hands are clean. We gave them what they wanted. Well, anything. Okay. God honors contracts. Remember he honored the contract with Jacob. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of soup to Jacob, it was Esau's inheritance, and God honored it. Okay, Jacob, it's yours. You're the one. And that's the deal. Because he ain't your friend. Pharaoh ain't your friend. Pray, pray, pray. That's the answer. And this homeland you was promised, you rejected it. So now you got what you asked for. So if they gave you reparations today or tomorrow, how would that scenario not play out like that? Well, they say, okay, you got it. Tell me how the scenario wouldn't play out like that. And tell me why they wouldn't do it. They love you so much, they're going to say, okay, we're going to take care of them. I mean, why should they go out their way to take care of you when you was right here? You was working at Popeyes and then they get up on Section 8, all that stuff right here, because they're trying to get rid of that stuff right now. Trump's trying to get rid of all that stuff right now. Because they're closing on you don't realize it. Anyway, that's just, that's what's happening over in America. Wow. Boys, come here. Disaster over there. And, I just got a call. Oh, wait, hold on. Really? You serious? Our ambassador just got a call from I don't know what they call it Conland or something. I forgot what something they call it right there. That 6th day. They begged us to come and help. Can they come over here? Can we come and get them? Really? Can we come and get them and bring them? Oh no. Now he wouldn't ask Master Farad Muhammad, right? He said, no, hell no. We ain't going to get them. And I agree with that. Yeah, the pastor said he said, let's call him, and he passed the word to Master Farad Muhammad. Master Muhammad said, send him back. Listen, no, we can't come and get you. You made your choice, live with it. But die, whatever the situation is, wow. I can't believe that. They actually, right, sent a message over. I don't know how they did. I don't have any communication with them. Somehow they got the information over to them. Said, we please come and get them. Nope. Said, no, tell them no. And don't waste time communicating with us anymore. You got your land. You got your reparations. You got your money. You got Farrakhan as your leader. Yeah, tell him. Talk to him. Let him straighten out for you. He didn't want to sell you the idea. He was a salesman. So you on that idea of reparations. We told you. Right? Suleiman, right? He was the messenger to you, telling you, look, man, let's go home. You said no. You chose not to. Okay, bro, since that's a sad story. But I guess that's it. Is that it? Oh, they're not getting more reports on because, okay, he says that was Matthew Prophet Muhammad's final decision, and I think they closed communications off from there. So, like I said, brothers and sisters, got those guys that came in. All that came in today, man. I came in fast. After a whole year. Total collapse. Now they're begging it. Somebody help them. We can't do it. Maybe Master help you. We won't do it. Assalamu alaikum. Update, brothers and sisters, got another late report in that they said, well, if you want to come and get us, we'll weekly send some food. They begged, said, please send some food. Master Muhammad said, we got to send them a damn thing, nothing, zero. He said, please just send some food. No, I just got that in. He says, if you can't come and get us, please send some food. He says, no. He refused. That's the report. I just got the information from the ambassador. He said, they sent that. He's ready to me. He says, no. He said, please, just please send us some food. He said, no, go, no way. You made your choice. Case closed. Okay. Just got that in, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.